Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's presentation. We're pleased to have Rad, one of our associate members, present today. The title of today's virtual product review is Agentic AI is transforming remote monitoring operations. Are you ready? So I think we're all going to learn a lot today about how we can really harness the power of AI to improve our monitoring services. Our speakers today are Steve Reinharz, who is the CEO and CTO of Robotic Assistance Devices, otherwise known as RAD. And he is joined today by one of his partners, Austin Smith, who is CEO of OneWatch. Why don't we go ahead and get started, Steve?
It sounds great. It sounds great. You know, Lee, thanks for having us, and thanks again to the TMA. I know that there was a TMA webinar either last week or the week before about AI, and I heard from one of the attendees that there was kind of a question or a discussion, or the words AI were thrown around in that presentation. And I want to lead off by saying the AI that you guys were kind of talking about, that's what this session is. This is AI on the ground, in the call centers, getting the work done today. So when people say, hey, what's AI? Well, for us in the TMA, running a call center, running a SOC, it's Agentic AI. We're going to talk about the one that RAD put together. I think it's pretty clear or undisputable that we're well ahead of anybody else in terms of thought leadership and product development on this. And I'm super pleased that one of our dearest partners, Mr. Austin Smith, who has been pioneering in the field the application of Agentic AI and being an incredible partner, feeding back lots of information that then goes into product improvement, is going to join me here. So we're going to have what should be a great conversation. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Anyway, I'm Steve. Lee introduced me, and joined here by Austin. Austin, you share a moment of the amazing business that you've built?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. It's always been a pleasure and always is a pleasure. And thank you for the opportunity to partner and share this experience with you. RAD has been an absolute game changer for our business. And we're just very, very excited about everything, just the possibilities, right? But my name is Austin Smith. I'm CEO of OneWatch. We have been in this game for almost 15 years, and our partnership with RAD has absolutely transformed security operations across the board. So we're really excited about really double clicking this and unpacking the experience and answering questions.
Love it. Love it. Dave, let's go next. All right, so folks, you know, we have an hour, but what we wanted to do was front load a demonstration of SARA so that what we talk about next clicks in as effectively as possible. So we're going to show kind of a quick little demo video here that's just going to demonstrate exactly just a very basic example of Agentic AI at work. I don't know if this is a real call out of Austin's shop or not. I don't know. I don't know which demo we've got queued up. But Dave, why don't you play it? Make sure audio microphone is on.
Gotcha. What you are about to see is autonomous detection, deterrence, notification, and reporting of a trespassing incident as executed by a RAD Rio, along with SARA at the edge, RAD's Agentic AI platform. Let's see what happens. You are trespassing. Please leave immediately. Security has been notified. You are trespassing. Please leave immediately. Security has been notified.
Hello, Acme Construction.
Hello, this is Sarah. I want to inform you that a trespassing event was just detected at your facility. The person left after being deterred by the Rio unit.
Is everything clear now?
Yes, the property is secure. Rio and I will maintain active monitoring and provide updates if anything changes.
Can you tell me how many were spotted?
We spotted just one trespasser, and it appears that he has left the area.
Excellent. Did you happen to notice any firearms?
No, Rio and I did not detect the presence of a firearm.
Great, thanks for the call.
I will be sending you a detailed incident report to you now. Good night.
Hello, this is Sarah. Hello, this is Sarah.
So that short video has a ton of information on that.
Yeah.
I expect that the bulk of the attendees are either in the RVM business or running their SOC, right? Like this is who this appeals to. And I ask everyone on the call to think about what you just heard versus what a human operator would do in that case. And really, I mean, at this point, flip it over to Mr. Smith here because he's been a real driving factor for us.
Yeah, no, thanks, Steve. You know, the videos, it's just a snapshot, but I'm going to just take a quick moment to really unpack what happens from a practical experience, and that's based on mine in our GSOC that we have here in our room right next door. So essentially, what's happening is you've got SARA is analyzing all of this data, monitoring everything, right, based on the customizations of, you know, whatever that you need to customize that you want to look out for. And then you have an operator that actually sits in the command center that waits for those alerts. It's the human part, right, where it can interact. And it really just has transformed everything from just scalability, from optimization, from staffing overload, you name it. And without spilling all the beans right now, it has been an absolute game changer. And, you know, working with Steve and his team and their thought leadership that they have, it continues to evolve, right? So now it's kind of like, what else can we do, right? And that's why we're so excited about SARA. SARA is a absolute game changer for our GSOC. I think Steve, your audio went off for a sec there.
Yeah. Dave, let's flip back to that one slide there.
Yeah.
Let's go back one. Austin, specifically, can you talk about the challenges that you faced in monitoring beforehand? And let's talk about that. Let's set the table for what everybody feels every day in their business related to staffing, performance, and cost.
Absolutely. So what we're experiencing is the challenge of staffing, right? You know, some people just don't show up to work. You know, that's just the world that we live in. And some folks work really hard, right? So they get tired, right? And so there's some missteps, right? So those are some of the challenges. Also, when you're trying to grow a company, you deal with the cost associated with scaling, right? And that's really huge. You know, you have a great sales team, you go out and you get a whole bunch of business, and it's like, great, now I gotta hire a ton of people, right? So those are like real challenges that we faced, along with the challenges of verifying 1,000 alarms, right? And we're not talking alarms that are, you know, for one site. You know, we're talking about alarms like in 1 hour, right? I mean, that is just constantly just bottlenecking one person's capacity to be able to, you know, verify all those alarms. So you've got the money, right? Being able to grow. You've got I would argue to say the people's health, right? Because you want to create a healthy environment for your folks to work within. You've also got the customer experience. You know, it's hard when you're trying to grow a company and you're trying to, you know, communicate to everyone all at once when all these things are going on. And I can go on and on, Steve, about just all the different challenges that we faced. But I think at a high level, strategically speaking, it's staffing, and it's trying to verify and watch everything. It's just very difficult to do that. So, I see the next slide up. Steve, is this okay if I can continue the thunder?
We need this. Yeah, this is it. Keep going. We're good.
Cool. So, on the too many false alarms, the manual review of the bottlenecks and the staffing crisis, I kind of went over those things, but I kind of want to talk about a little bit more. When you're able to introduce a SARA, what it's done for us in our command center, it hasn't replaced the people. It has actually enhanced folks' ability to perform. It has increased performance for our surveillance officers in our command center. It's also increased the ability for us to respond across the board, giving us the ability to detect things that we weren't detecting before. And so it's really been, I would argue to say it's a paradigm shift. It's kind of like before the internet came, we were sending mail, just strictly sending mail, right? And then the internet came, and now you can press a button and you could send communication across the world and back. That's what SARA is. But I would argue to say it's such an amazing experience, and I'm just really excited to play a role in this, Steve.
Love that. I love that. Let's dive into a little bit of the details on what is agentic AI, right? So AI is kind of like a category that you would describe the medical industry, right? Mm-hmm. There are just hundreds subsections of that each have significance and importance, but fall under this greater umbrella of AI. Agentic AI is one of those categories, one of those significant categories. Another significant category would be AI involved in autonomous navigation. Another AI category would be visual object detection, recognition, and identification. And I'm using those three categories because those are the three categories that RAD is organized in terms of development teams for specialization and production of products. So in this particular case, our agentic AI team leverages our own code and our own software in order to perform the work of human operators. And the way that we see this is in a couple different ways. Number one, there is no question that large, medium-sized call centers will be transforming their human labor, and they will be offloading a ton of remote video monitoring to agentic AI. There's no question. I have a relationship with someone who's been in the space at a very high level for many years and is from one of the most notable companies in our space. And his conversations about this with his peers, our peers, is that in 2 years, we're looking at up to 70% human staff reduction in the RVM space because of this. And what's going to happen is that we're going to default to a theory that we call people as a premium, where the people, having a person on the phone is going to be a premium experience, much like Austin offers, whereas just the daily work is offloaded to agentic AI. And the closest example that I can give you to how this works and how history shows that this is likely the path is with your credit card. So if you have, say, a Target store card and you have an American Express card, when you call up Target, you're presented with, a voice menu. Push 1 for this, push 3 for this, enter your account number, boom, 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 right? Automated, low customer experience. You call American Express and they say, hello, Mr. Smith, how can I help you today? Premium experience. So we see call centers becoming management platforms for sales and implementation and management of agentic AI, with a separate layer on top for premium experiences. Yesterday, I had a call with a top 5 remote video monitoring company. Again, very well known, massive dealer base. And we were talking about cost. And we were specifically talking about how most of the large companies have become incredibly efficient. We're maxed out in the industry in terms of efficiency we can get from humans. We're great at hiring, staffing, scheduling. We understand, bringing people in and overflow and managing call volumes and so forth. Like, we've become really, really good at that. We're a good industry. But if we can do a huge amount of that work for less cost, then all of a sudden what happens is that maybe another 500 million video sensors that are in the United States today, maybe a large portion of those can get monitored. My estimates are that right now, in its best case, maybe 3 million cameras out of America's maybe 600 million, maybe 3 million have the ability of a live human to check and respond. Okay, maybe. That's based on different companies, number of cameras that they monitor, and other partners that we have and what they've shared. So when I see this, I see tremendous opportunity for our industry, for the industry players that adopt this and make it better and make it their own and get the expertise to open up huge new markets, because the cost structure is going to change and the human costs related are going to start to be higher than what agentic AI can do, which in turn helps substantiate the people as a premium theory, which is part of my overall feelings of where AI is going to go. Austin touched on a few items here. One of the things that I really like about this slide is the fact that call balancing and call loading. We all have had experiences as call centers where we get an angry customer call because it took us 10 minutes to call them or more, or we just didn't call them. It's a massive issue. But with SARA and agentic AI being infinitely scalable and infinitely immediately available, we don't have to balance it anymore. So all that work that's been done to do call prioritization, all these platforms, you're 99, you're 0, you're 50, you're 75, blah, 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 all that stuff, it doesn't matter. SARA's looking at everything all the time. And that in itself is a significant game changer.
And Steve, let me add to that. As far as like the game changer that SARA brings to the table, and I've said a couple of these things, but you mentioned a couple of things that kind of unlocks the infinite, being able to narrate some of the infinite opportunities. You've got core operational intelligence at your fingertips. You get that through SARA. You get, of course, the real-time data analysis, but you also get situational awareness through that live interaction with SARA. And you get it from an autonomous approach. You're talking to SARA, but SARA's also analyzing the entire site, not just one particular incident that's going on. You can continue to ask questions, that live interaction, and that provides data intelligence, right? Operational visibility. It creates, it gives you the ability to have threat classification, right? So now you can kind of disseminate to your team, hey, it's just a guy walking past. Yeah, he looks suspicious, but threat level is not crazy, right? Versus, hey, there's a guy with a gun. Yeah, we need to, have law enforcement to deploy to the site, right? And then, like Steve had mentioned, that's, now you're talking about, you know, the load, right? Being able to balance the load intelligently, you know, and all those great things. The other thing too, I would like to say too, and Steve, I really appreciate you kind of unlocked the Pandora's box with the word infinite, is the predictive analytics that you get through SARA, right? You get the dashboard, right? Now you can have an intelligent conversation based off real-time data that you can now think about, how can we create more value in the experience with our customer, right? Or how do we make them feel safe, right? And it just transforms the thinking, along with pattern recognition, right? That's huge. At 6 p.m., you know, at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., you know, we've got kids crossing the street, right? I'll say 6 p.m., 7 a.m. Maybe 6 a.m. I'll do better. 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. You've got kids crossing the street, you know, Monday through Friday. You know what? We might just have a patrol go out there just to make sure the kids get across the street, right? What if the customer experiences that? They didn't ask for it. It's just, right? And so that's what SARA gives you, you know, at a very more granular level as well too.
Yeah. You know, Austin, Dave, let's go back to that last slide. Austin, you have very quickly demonstrated outstanding results. Can you walk us through these results that you shared with us and that we included in this presentation? Because this is huge. This is absolutely huge. This is real life statistics right here.
Absolutely. I'll start with the faster response time. So how do we, you know, folks say, oh, how's, you know, 3x faster response? What does that mean, right? So we measure that by time to detect, time to verify, and time to respond. And there's a formula there that we input and say, okay, is it faster or not, right? And so that's how we were able to measure that we're 3 times faster to respond, because we're increased our time to detect, we've increased our time to verify, decreased our time to verify, and we've decreased our time to respond, right? All those are cycle times to providing not just a solution, but the answer, right? The answer of safety. And then as far as 85% false alarm reduction, I mean, that's kind of in our formula there. SARA's doing all the work. And our operator is behind the scenes and just verifying that we're going in the right direction based on that live interaction with the customer, right? Oh, that's, you know, Bob, he comes and closes up the site at 6 p.m., right? Okay, well, now we can input that information into SARA and say, hey, don't alarm us when you see Bob, right? Now it's this relationship, right, that you're building with SARA from an operator standpoint, and it gives you the opportunity to really partner with SARA. As far as 68% staffing efficiency, listen, it is absolutely a game changer as far as the staffing efficiency. Folks are not feeling overloaded, right? Because they've got to look at all these alarms, you know, and you know, you kind of get the glaze over look, right? By looking at a screen all day. And you've got, I mean, I'm big on mental health. Folks are more mentally healthy and sound. It's from an operator standpoint. So people want to stay, people want to come to work, right? Just across the board, it kind of goes back to that core operational efficiency. I can go on all day, Steve, about this slide, because I'm a living testimony of what it's done to our business, to our center, and it's just absolutely fantastic.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's huge, and we're going to revisit that. So we have another opportunity to talk about those stats in a few more slides. But let's divert a little bit and talk some nuts and bolts for a second here. And specifically, hey, listen, if you're running an on-the-vest camera and it's got multi-streams, we can pretty much put it into agentic AI. I mean, I'm simplifying some of it, but it's not that hard, you know, for us. So that's pretty good. And then from there we have, I would say, a very sophisticated and refined cloud system that's going to process it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to scrub it for false positives. So there's two immediate benefits right off the bat that justify use of agentic AI. The first is false positive scrubbing, which leads to human efficiency. That's number one. And the second is end of day report writing. So when your operator is writing a report or writing notes or something like that, they're not taking the next call, and which in turn, everybody knows this slows down the efficiency, call volume, and so forth. So getting really comprehensive reports with the spoken transcripts, with the links to the video, with the summary of the results alone adds to human efficiency significantly so. So we get the image. Oh, sorry, Dave, one more time. We get the image, we process it. SARA makes the decisions, and then there's a variety of action paths based on that exact camera and time of day and day of the week. So highly customizable to an extent that would be difficult to have human operators execute at a great level every time, because we're asking humans, okay, got to read this, I got to respond, I got to, oh, boom, 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 boom. Oh, what did I just read? Was it different than the script I read a second ago? A lot of different stuff like that. It's difficult for humans at this scale. So agentic AI handles that. Let's look at the next one, Dave. You know, we're going to connect basically any on-the-bus camera that I talked about, but then we're going to take it a step further. And equipment that has speakers and microphones attached to it, all of a sudden, you start using SARA at the edge, which is what we call it. So the talk down isn't limited exclusively to humans doing talk down. SARA will do the talk down itself. And that finishes the loop of SARA making the calls, looking at the scene, making the calls, and talking down. So autonomous voice down, absolutely, driven by agentic AI. Now, parallel escalation is absolutely fascinating. And again, we go into an area that humans cannot perform the same level and quality of work as agentic AI. I'll give you an example. SARA, in its current form, can make up to 3 outbound calls at the same time. So let's say it calls me, Austin, and Lee. Now, let's say Lee doesn't answer, it's just me and Austin. And I say to SARA, I say, hey, Austin, did he call Lee? And I say to SARA, hey, did you call Lee and Austin? And Sarah's like, yep, I called Lee and Austin. Lee didn't pick up. I'm on the phone with Austin right now. I say, Sarah, let Austin know I've got this covered. No problem. He'll get the report in 20 minutes. Boom. Saving time and 15 phone calls back and forth. But then it goes a step further. I say, Sarah, what's happening on the scene right now? Oh, well, there's 2 guys there, and they seem to be in camping or scoping out cars or tagging, whatever it is. Okay, I say, Sarah, you let them know that we're rolling up on them right now. And if they're still there when we get there, they're going to be hooked up and taken it. Okay. Sarah will then work that in to what she says at the edge through the output. So all of a sudden we have this real blend, this real active blend of humans working with SARA as partners in order to effect immediate and efficient response. That's parallel escalation, and it's can't do that with humans. And then of course, you know, seamless integration to whichever systems mostly folks are using right now. So pretty impressive. Dave, let's look at the next one. And this brings us back to, oh, I'm sorry, one more, please. Well, this brings us back to Austin. You know, maybe we beat this, maybe we beat these stats to death, but Austin, I'll flip the mic back to you.
Yeah, I kind of marrying both of those slides together that Steve you just mentioned. basically it creates, I think I would argue to say a new term, a new phrase that we'll probably be hearing more of as SARA continues to evolve, and that is cognitive surveillance. Basically, it's where AI doesn't just watch, it understands, it verifies, and it takes action, right? And that is happening with SARA. And I think, when we talk about where we were as a company versus where we are now as a company, the traditional model that we had before that's given us these numbers, 85% false alarm reduction, 3 times faster response, we were stuck in a traditional monitoring, system. And that's passive video feed review. You got high alert fatigue, right? You got siloed systems, right? Things not talking, people not talking, right? Slower response cycles, human only dependent decisions, like Steve just mentioned. Folks forget stuff, right? Oh, forgot what happened last week when Joe went across the street, and like, it's just, right, there's just so much information, and it's not, saying we can't do it. It's just saying let's be smarter about doing it. It's that work smarter, not harder, right? I was telling my team, I said, guys, yes, let's work smarter, not just harder, but with SARA, we can work higher, right? And working higher is what SARA brings to the table, and this is what has given us these results. But going back to the cognitive, surveillance, it's active, right? It's active, it's autonomous, it's unified, right? And it's real time. It's really, really excited. Our customers, I see the next slide popping up. Steve, if you don't mind if I double click that. We have some major customers, government, we've got healthcare, we've got construction sites. I'll, without mentioning the customer's name, we had a hospital that probably had maybe $100,000 worth of, it's a multi-billion-dollar project, and there was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that was basically stolen, right? And our system, through SARA, we were able to investigate, find out where it happened, when it happened, and we're talking within an hour, we had a full report to DPS, Department of Public Safety. We were able to successfully retrieve all assets. I mean, hear that. I mean, that's like, and you talk about customer retention, right? And that's priceless, right? We were able to retrieve, and of course we have relationships with the police department and all those kind of things, but being able to disseminate that information when things go down, it was huge. And SARA has helped us achieve that. I'll give you even one more, just from a construction site standpoint. We've had folks, you've got the fence around the perimeter of the site. Those are great, but it doesn't stop people from jumping over the fence, right? SARA gives you the ability to actually intercept, right? So we were able to intercept individual jumped the fence line and went into the building and was on their way to steal tools. Now, our company we have a hybrid model where we have physical patrols and security and AI and surveillance and all that cool stuff. We were able to send our police officers to go to that site and actually make a interception. And it's just absolutely amazing. It's helping us with insurance, right? Our insurance is supporting us internally with our insurance, supporting others with their insurance. Absolute game changer. Customers, the more they learn about it, the more they want it.
Love it. One example I want to just tack on here, which is some massive success that we had in a very short period of time for a county client on the East Coast. So the county was having issues that caused people to buy RVM. They were having some county space where there was illegal encampments, illegal dumping, and just the related escalations from that set of lower level infractions. And you know, they're counties, so they have the sheriff's department, their own sheriff's department with field resources to go and try to manage that. But it's difficult to manage. You can't set up camp there. You've got other calls to make. We installed 2 ROSA units. Within 2 weeks, those 2 ROSA units, and ROSA is a self-contained camera apparatus. It's just easy to put up. It's cellular. You plug it in. You get. There's no infrastructure required except for power. Within 2 weeks, SARA made 5 calls to the sheriff department, resulting in a number of arrests, stay away orders, and so on and so forth. And county called us up absolutely ecstatic that they were able to solve the problem at a low cost with a high effectiveness. Sheriff's department loved it. No issues with response. And that is such a great example of effective use of resources. That was effective use of resources. So I love that example. Austin, I love the examples that you shared as well. I know we've got so many more, you know, happening on a daily basis now, especially as we continue to roll out some expansions.
Absolutely.
So we are on second last slide, folks, and we had wanted to wrap this at 40 minutes after the hour, so it looks like we're pretty much on schedule, leaving some time for questions and engagement with the attendees. Listen, Agentic AI, like I mentioned, you know, is designed to fit smoothly into a remote video monitoring or GSOC or SOC or NOC or whatever you want to call it, facilities, operations, okay? You know, monthly billing like you pay your employees. Unlimited scalable, don't need more real estate. In fact, there's 2 RVM companies that I'm talking to right now that are considering making their stations smaller because they envision managing more cameras with fewer people because of Agentic AI. And then, of course, RAD is going to be participating more and more in TMA because it's an organization that I think is well organized, well positioned. I think that the teamwork that I see between companies, you know, that might on one level be considered competitors, but this industry, this niche of the security industry has such a quality, collaborative attitude that is something that is very attractive for us. So we're really pleased to be part of it. You'll be seeing more of us here. Mr. Smith, before we go to the Ask Me Anything slide, is there anything that you want to add before we open up to questions?
No, I think we hit it all. Again, I'm excited to answer questions and you know, give more information as we proceed forward. So no, I think we hit it all.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. That was really amazing. And I think, Austin, your story is really powerful. And I think that really helps our members understand more from a customer perspective like yourself to really bring about the power of SARA. So thank you. I know we have a number of questions. The first question is, what is the distance that SARA can see and be accurate? Is she accurate up to 100 to 200 feet?
Great question. A technical question. It depends on the camera. So if you've got a high power PTZ on a pole or on top of a building and you've got it zoomed in 500 feet away, it'll process it. Technically speaking, we want somewhere between 12 to 20 pixels of data in order to do human detection, which is kind of the smallest piece. Now, once we start talking about firearm detection, the pixel count changes, and we talk about accuracy and confidence level and so forth. But the short answer to the question is, depends on your camera.
Thank you. The next question. In the demo where the responses from SARA in real were the responses from SARA in real time, or were they edited to remove the delay between prompt from the user and reply from SARA?
The audio that you heard, the video that you saw was produced. It was a produced piece. And it's actually a very old piece. It's probably a 4 or 5 month old piece. And we've got lots of different pieces that people can engage with us on. I can tell you today, just based on the demos that I was doing yesterday, the responsiveness is snappy and sharp and updates in a very, very natural, real way. So the video that we showed was absolutely accurate for the experience that you'll get today.
Very good. Rick from The Century is asking, is SARA capable of dispatching police? What are the current challenges?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. I love this question because I was really nervous before when we were launching SARA. When we were talking about SARA, we're talking to, you know, different people that advise us and that are engaged with us in the industry and in law enforcement. And so we had 3 phone calls, me and our chief revenue officer, who is retired FBI. We had three calls. We had a call with a small market PD, you know, under 50 sworn. We had a call with a mid-market police department. He is about 110 sworn. And then we had a call with a top 35 market who has 800 or 900 sworn, plus or minus in the area, right? And, you know, it's a good sample set, right? So I was nervous that, you know, the police would be like, this is terrible, we're never going to respond, we hate you, right? Like, that's what I expected, you know, maybe just my cautiousness moving into this territory. But that's what I expected. And the response from all 3 chiefs was overwhelmingly positive, and it surprised us, if not shocked us. And so we asked why. And they said, well, number one, SARA is clearly intelligible. Number 2, we trust SARA's data potentially more than we would a human. And I'll give you the example. Hey, I've got to go to 5667 Broadway Avenue. I mix up numbers. If I'm looking at it, I'm under stress. I'm trying to look at an event. I'm talking to law enforcement. I'm seeing what's going on. Am I doing 5667? Am I doing 56? You know, am I doing 7556? Right? SARA doesn't have that issue. The other thing about SARA is that you can add specific instructions in an easier way than you would with humans. So oftentimes a location might have access that isn't on the street address side. Or the street address side might be blocked. Whereas SARA can say, as you pull up to 5667 Broadway, go 1 step past, whatever that is. The other thing about it is that SARA is reachable very easily. So for example, let's say RVM calls police dispatch say, yeah, okay, you know, I'll get somebody on it. You know, it might be 15, 20 minutes, but I'll get somebody. Okay, great. So watch commander goes and does 15, 20, 100 other things as he takes an ACAR or a resource and says, hey man, you got added to your list, right? Well, that time that elapsed, you know, you're not going to have the call center operator sitting on the phone for 20 minutes like that, right? It's completely inefficient. So SARA gives you a number to call, or text for that matter, so you can re-engage that case, and the officers pulling up can get refreshed situational awareness before they hit the site.
Right.
They like all these features. 2 of them said to us, can you start taking 911 calls?
Yeah.
One day soon. It's coming soon.
Yes.
So that's been the response from law enforcement. That said, okay, America is a big place. We fully expect jurisdictions to hate this as much as we expect jurisdictions to love it.
Thank you, Steve. Austin, a question I think for you. Did you see pushback from your operators, and how did you get them to trust the AI? Big question in our industry today.
Absolutely. And I'll be all the way brutally honest. They didn't like it. They didn't like it because they didn't understand it. And so what we did is we created a space where we can have a conversation on what you didn't understand. What are you afraid of? What are you fearful of? And we attacked that very aggressively. This SARA answer, I'm not calling it a solution, it's an answer. It's not here to replace all your jobs. This is a tool to make your job more efficient, more productive, right? This is a tool that will support you with your job. And the response behind the scenes is, wow, okay. So if I learn this, then this is going to create more job stability. And the short answer was yes, right? And then it created a space where now we got some feedback from the team. Hey, what if we did this? What if we did that? Could we do this, right? So now we've had a thought-provoking conversation that didn't exist before because everyone was siloed. So short answer, yes, we got some pushback. Some folks didn't like it, but once we addressed the fears, created some understanding, big fan of, you know, when you have understanding, it gives clarity, right? And clarity gives energy. And so when we provided that, everyone was pretty much on board, and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
In
you
your
know, Lee,
oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
oh, it's okay. I want to provide a somewhat contrarian response to that as well. You know, when you're running a call center like Austin is, you know, there's certain things you've got to continue to do in order to keep the ship afloat. I'm thinking a little bit ahead, right? I am thinking that there is going to be some job loss. There's no question about it in my mind. And I say this to everybody all the time, and I have for the last few years. Don't get too comfortable in your role. Everything can be replaced. This is just brutal, honest, guys. There's not necessarily a fairy tale ending. So let's accept that this is a time of change. And everybody who's on this call right now who has stayed, and thank you very much, you know, understands that AI in general is going to fundamentally change things. And by being on this call and being ahead of the curve, ahead of the map curve, you have a chance to modify your careers to bring more value and stay ahead and be one of the winners. Because with every revolution, there's winners and losers.
Okay, thank you. Very powerful. Our next question, is SARA a third-party plugin to monitoring center receivers?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's you know, it's not that hard to get set up and get running on it. You know, there's some work might have to be done depending on what your primary platform is, but generally software. You know, as long as you've got two willing partners, you can make anything happen. It's not hard. It's quick, it's easy, and it's inexpensive to do.
Our next question, who deploys the agency?
Yeah, RAD deploys the agent.
If it is deemed an active threat, does it redirect to an operator, or does SARA still handle the whole interaction?
SARA's going to handle the interaction. So we're coming up with, SARA is evolving into 4 different products, potentially 5. And one of the products is kind of a transitory product. And for industry folks that have been in this space forever, I'll ask you to remember like 20 years ago when IP video was coming in, and everybody all had analog cameras, but they wanted some of the benefits of an IP system. So Axis was selling hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of encoders during those years. And people were like, well, I still like my analog camera, but I want to be an IP system. So I'm going to buy the analog camera with the encoder. We're going to put on the IP system. That's what we're going to do, so that if I don't like it, I still have my analog camera. I can go back. Okay. So SARA Assist is kind of a similar type of solution, where your operator can be the final eyes and press a button and engage SARA make the phone calls or engage SARA at the edge. So it's kind of a semi-step. It's also a premium step as well, because you have the advantages of the human premium experience as well.
Can SARA validate false alarms on two-way systems?
I don't know who asked the question. What do they mean on a two-way system?
That was Lindis. I don't know, Lindis, if you can share any more, if you're still here. The next question, is there a complete list of VMS providers other than Milestone, Genetic, and iMix, like the one on the slide?
No, there's not, because it's not particularly VMS sensitive. It's a third-party plugin. Every VMS is going to have the ability, pretty much, if it's any modern VMS, i.e. in the last 10 years, is going to have the ability to use this, unless it's some super weird closed thing. Because we're picking up the second stream, we're not using the VMS's video feed. We're using the second stream in order to run our processing, and then we're using our systems to initiate the calls and talk down. So it's kind of outside, parallel, whatever. We talk with and deal with the VMSs because there is a industry perception that single pane of glass is the only way to go. So we're going to play nice with the industry, but we've got an active and viable platform, for instance, that Austin uses that is, just as capable and smooth. But again, transitory period, we'll play nice and make it as easy as we can for our clients.
Next question, can you explain the after action report capabilities following an event?
Yeah, the after action report, I did touch on it in the presentation, but I'll give you more data on it right now. It comes out as an email, and in it are links to the video, links to the actual audio, the transcripts of all the calls, transcripts of the talk down, a capture of the image that was the initial trigger, a summary of the event itself that happened, and that's stored on our platform, for a period of time as well. The last thing about it is those reports can be, highly customized for whatever particular purpose. And then on top of that, we have software that will create summaries of the reports themselves and dashboards that go along with that.
Very good, thank you. When SARA issues an automated voice down response, is that functionality tied to RAD devices only, such as Rosa, or is it available for other manufacturer speakers, such as Axis, Bosch, etc.?
If you've got audio connected, then SARA at the edge works.
Okay. Let's see. We have just a couple more minutes. Austin, did you let SARA engage directly with intruders, or does a human always step in?
We let SARA engage with the human from a notification standpoint. And so that's that, deterrent part. And then there's a part where then the human, the operator, will then take over. So, and that's where, de-escalation, kind of mitigating all the noise. It might just be, Bob just looking at the site that didn't exist a month ago. He just wants to look at the construction site. And it just supports with time management as well too. One thing I will add to that is kind of going back to a couple of statements that we made. It's actually helping us to create a different kind of job. So it's more of AI surveillance analysts that we're starting to, have JDs on, command center strategist officers, right? Not just your regular, like Steve said, it's evolving, right? It's not just your regular operator, just click, click, click. No, you need someone that is, more integrated at a higher level, and that's what's happening on our side as well.
Okay, I think this is a question everyone will want to hear. It's our closing question for you, Austin. Do you feel that this has helped with client retention or winning new accounts?
Big time, yes. Absolutely. I'm able to get information to my clients faster. I'm able to enhance customer service experience faster. It's what Steve said. It's the American Express experience, you know, and you know, it's creating that 5-star experience. And so I believe that this is just the beginning. That's where I believe, and I'm not in, you know, Steve's, R&D toolbox, back in the shed, all the good stuff. But me knowing and seeing and experience what's happening just on, what we've been doing in a short amount of time, it's I can't even imagine where this is going to go to support customer retention.
I encourage everybody to, engage us, engage RAD. We're not hard to find. The reason is, there's obviously a few reasons, and, self-interest involved as well, obviously, but the sooner you start speaking the language and understanding where this is going, the less chance that you're going to get left behind. So start learning now. You already started by getting on the call. So keep heading down this road. Hopefully the call convinced you beyond any reasonable doubt that agentic AI is going to be making big changes in our industry.
Well, thank you very much, Steve and Austin. Again, really powerful information you shared today. Thank you also to our attendees. You will be receiving a follow-up email tomorrow, and that will have a link to a questionnaire. If you would like to request additional information from RAD, you can fill that out, and we will provide your information back to Steve and his team. Also, if you have any additional questions, you can use that, as well as if you care to reach out to RAD as well directly, please feel free to do so. So thank you all for your time today, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.